next year her sister will be older than her. Her 2-year younger sister will be older than her. And as life moves on, I think it will become, well, it already is becoming more apparent that she is frozen in time. And I think that side will actually get harder, but I'll get better at managing it and getting on. But yeah, I don't think it'll ever be something I'll move on from. She was just really passionate about her cycling, but she also a bit hill walking, a bit rock climbing occasionally. Loved being outdoors. We actually went out and did lots of cycling together, out in the Peak District, training rides, and they were really good. I mean, the usual sort of run-ins between father and daughter when we were at home, plenty of those. But also we'd go down the pub, have a few drinks, and go out and do lots of cycling together. So that's the stuff I tend to remember. Dad had gone out, and sometime around about between 1 and 2 they knew she'd gone cycling, and she still wasn't back, and by now by then it must have been about 5:30, 6. No, it's probably about 6 o'clock by then. Wasn't too concerned, but as time went on, I sort of phoned my mum back and said, I'm not hearing from her, and in the end thought, well, maybe she's had an accident or something, and I actually got as far as saying, well, I'll tell you what, my mum was saying, well, perhaps you should phone around the hospitals or something, and maybe she'd been knocked off a bike and been taken into hospital, and I'm still, well, I was a bit concerned by then, but I thought, well, maybe I'm going to find that, she's been knocked off a bike, she's not been able to get in touch, she's in hospital, and this is the story. That's sort of, by then I was thinking, well, maybe I'm going to find that. But and it was, I was actually on the phone when the 2 policemen knocked on the door, and I just said, is she alive? Because I just want to answer that question, and then we can deal with whatever next. And I remember the guy said, can we sit down? And I thought, can you answer my question? I thought, right, he wants me to sit down, and then, right, let's just sit down. So I sat down, and I don't exactly remember the words, but it was something. I remember the word road accident, and thing I really remembered is him saying, died at the scene, and at that point, well, that's where it's like the last, all hope goes at that point. She died at the scene, and suddenly I'm not worried anymore. It's different. It's and I sort of vaguely remember hearing this this noise, and I realised it was me just going no, or more of a wail really, just because you sort of fear the worst, but you always assume that that's not going to be the worst, and just to have that confirmed, it was like suddenly your whole world has changed in that instant. Quite an appalling situation. The fact that repeatedly been told he shouldn't be driving, etc. and yeah, all so avoidable. I mean, I absolutely feel that there are, but both, as Joseph's parent, but also as a cyclist myself, there's all sorts of things that I feel could be done better, and everything from cycle lanes, etc., all that sort of thing, and feel even more strongly about that sort of thing. If you're in the bigger vehicle, you are responsible, and cyclists, they're not perfect people. They do stuff wrong. Everyone can tell a story about a cyclist who jumped a red light, or cyclists, are they allowed to ride two abreast? Well, they are, but it can be irritating at times, and people seem to get irritated by people in lycra for some reason. And I just say, look, it can be frustrating, it can be irritating, but they are really vulnerable, and you're not, because you're in a metal box. And just think about that. And if you feel yourself, I mean, it's a different situation. This guy just, for whatever reason, didn't see her for an unbelievably long time. But be vigilant and be aware that about the more vulnerable on the road, pedestrians, cyclists, motorcyclists, whatever, and just give them more time, more space, even if it takes 10 seconds out of your day. I think, as a driver, I'm a driver, and I'm very aware of cyclists, but I'd say I'm even more aware now, and I think about that more. So I'd say just think about the more vulnerable people. I'd like to have seen her. I'd like to have been able to say goodbye, and I think it would have helped me accept it at an emotional level. Logically I knew it was all true, but in a way I think I still don't quite believe it. It's so sudden, and for Josephine that's probably a good thing, that she knew absolutely nothing. And I did actually see, after several months later, I decided to see the footage from the web camera in the lorry, having been told that there was actually, there's nothing bad to see, and she just gets closer and closer and goes out of shot, and I sort of replayed that quite a few times, and I could see her when right down to frame by frame, with probably about a tenth of a second of her life left, and she's looking strong, determined, cycling dead straight line up this slight rise, looking powerful and absolutely oblivious. I'm sure she was aware that there was by the traffic noise, that there was a big vehicle about to pass her, but it wasn't even a twitch of the helmet. And so knowing that she knew absolutely nothing, well, that is good. But as a person left behind, it's really hard. If it's not like there was a bedside vigil in hospital or anything, and thank God really, but it just makes it so hard it's still so hard to believe. So she was finishing university and deciding what to do next, various ups and downs on what that might be, and it was quite trying, etc. But so just not seeing her start this career path and where she was going to get to with that, not seeing where her cycling would go, not seeing her fall in love with somebody, not seeing her hopefully get a partner, maybe start a family herself, not seeing her growing up, potentially not seeing grandchildren if they'd have come along. Well, maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't, but they're not going to now. And just not having some more big bike rides in the Peak District with her.